What's up, weirdos? Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night unable to move or speak? Did you see a shadowy figure in the room with you? Did that figure stand over you or sit on your chest? Sounds like you've experienced sleep paralysis. Or could be the Night Hag. Also called the Old Hag, the Night Hag is that entity that sits on sleepers' chests, causing paralysis and trouble breathing and an immense sense of fear. That's alright, there's an entity attached to that terror. You're welcome. Only in recent years have we come to really understand sleep paralysis. Before modern times, the Night Hag was the top explanation for it. Because when you don't understand something, clearly it's demons. Eerily, the shadowy figure and the chest sitting are both common visions for people who experience this phenomenon. Many occurrences vary from there, but the hag and the paralysis are the same. So what is it? That depends on who you ask. In Brazil, she's known as the pisadeira, or she who steps. She's a shadowy figure with long nails and red eyes, and she perches on rooftops waiting to step on sleepers who go to bed on a full stomach. In Japan, there's kanashibari. Rooted in Buddhism, it was said that monks were able to use magic to paralyze others. And in China, this was called ghost oppression and dates back to the 18th century. Some other cultures believe that the Night Hag can be summoned using black magic and sent to torment those who have wronged the person who conjured her. And in Western cultures, it is widely assumed that the house is haunted, and the chest sitting is a method for feeding off of the sleeper's energy. Good news, crappy sleepers, you're not old, you're just haunted. While monks were supposedly using incantations at people in the 18th century, the Night Hag was going through some vernacular changes further west. An Old English moniker for night hags was nightmares, and the terms were interchangeable up until they split and went their separate ways. The night hags kept their haunting identity, while nightmares became the common term for unpleasant dreams. She's also said to be responsible for another common term, haggard. This word comes from the older term hagrid, which is shorthand for being ridden by the hag, and was used to describe people who would wake up tired after being visited by the hag the night prior. Not sure that excuse would hold up at work nowadays. Now, despite the multitude of iterations in which the Night Hag is described, there is one particular story that is most recognized all over the world, and that is the story of Lilith, Adam's first wife. But before delving into that, here's one more piece of etymology. The name Lilith derives from Sumerian Lilitu, which means female demons or wind spirits, and these creatures had breasts full of poison instead of milk. Now, she also went by the Lady in Black or the Morrigan. Now, Lilith's story has been told all over the world, across many civilizations, including the Israelites, the Hittites, the Greeks, and the Egyptians. She even made her way into the Talmud, Dead Sea Scrolls, and the Bible, but none of them spoke of her before the Babylonian poem, the Epic of Gilgamesh, from the anonymous text, the Alphabet of Ben Sira. As we know, Lilith was Adam's first wife in the Garden of Eden. Soon after creation, Adam and Lilith started having numerous arguments over gender roles. Adam expected Lilith to be submissive and strictly perform the duties of a wife, whatever those were at the time. But the most mentioned of Adam's gripes was his desire for Lilith to always be underneath him during sex. Now, Lilith wasn't having any of that, and being the strong woman she was, said to Adam, "We are equal because we were both made from the earth." I want to put that on a t-shirt. She then exiled herself from paradise, and after God dished out some harsh punishment, she became a demon, preying on men, children, and pregnant women as they slept. Today, there is a scientific explanation for sleep paralysis, which says that the brain practically detaches itself from the body, so we don't act out our dreams in our sleep. Sometimes this mechanism glitches, and we wake up before it's supposed to wear off, leaving us in a state of paralysis and dreaming while we're awake. That is when we start having what's called hypnopompic hallucinations, and that's when we see the Night Hag. That doesn't make it any less terrifying. Despite all of that, the mythology that surrounds it seems to suffice for many, and what's just as divisive is the interpretation behind Lilith's allegory. Many see it as a display of misandry, as it depicts one woman seeking out retribution against men. Many others see it as an example of feminine power and independence, as she was able to leave and fight the patriarchal ideals of Eden. However you see it, there is one question that we can all sit unsettled with together. How is it that people all over the world can see the same Night Hag when they find themselves paralyzed in the middle of the night? Couldn't be sheer coincidence, can it? On that note, sweet dreams, weirdos.